Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So I'm back again with another variant video, and this time it's going to be about resistor path and Ronan. I know many players are kind of blanking out on Ronan for this variant just because he's not extra large champion, so it means you can't do full combo as an opponent. However, he is large champion. That means his special attacks can be glanced and his intercepts can be glanced. So we can still pretty much use him as normal, at least for the resistor path in chapter 2, quest 1. That's the quest with that annoying symbiote boss that continues to wait. Anyways, here's our game plan. We punch our opponent a couple of times with medium attacks, because our first medium attack basically never gets glanced if we do a run-in. After that, we did a full combo just because the damage I would have taken from baiting out the special or parrying would have been probably bigger than the damage I took from the particle protector node. But anyways, once we do launch our special 1, the fight's pretty much over. From that point, we're just going to be using our heavy attack, continuously smacking the opponent with that, and whenever the stun's about to expire, just going to refresh it. So it is essentially just business as normal as if you were doing full combos, just in this case you have to use your heavy attacks instead for most part. But yeah, there's not much to it. And I'm going to be doing another fight with my 3-star invariant, and after that I'm going to have several other areas in game where people are kind of blanking on Ronan, or at least I haven't heard about him being used widespread to counter these nodes. And the good thing is that they are spread all across the content, so many people are basically ignoring Ronan when he should clearly be an option, how to kind of cheese a lot of the stuff out. But anyways, so the first fight's done, the next one is going to be Howard the Duck. Our game plan is going to be pretty much exactly the same. We just need to get to our level 1. In Howard the Duck's case, it doesn't even matter how many resistor charges we build up initially, just because he starts with those 8 armor ups. Those 8 armor ups will be removed once we start doing the heavy attacks, but at that point we're already going to have enough debuffs on the opponent. But yeah, so our 3-star is obviously taking quite a bit of parry damage, but most of you guys aren't going to be using 3-star, are you? You're going to be using your 4-star that's maxed, or rank 3 5-star or something. But yeah, anyways, so here we go again. We shoot our first special. Only thing that we do need to be careful about this Howard the Duck fight is his signature ability that has a chance to put a Thunder Quack on us. And that means that we always want to keep a special ready and launch it as soon as we see that processing letters come on. Because once we stun him, basically the same as Ultron, we interrupt that process and the ability never activates. So in this fight, I'm never going to be going to level 2. I'm just going to be using my level 1s, and I'm going to be launching them just before I get to 2 bars of power, just to make sure that I always essentially have enough power to launch a special attack at any given point as I need. But yeah, aside from that, there's nothing else different from this fight than previous one. We just stun lock him and heavy attack him to death. It's a dead simple, dead easy thing to do. It does not require any kind of special skill, especially if you use bigger health pool than the 3-star. But yeah, so this fight's nearly over, and then we're gonna move to a few more different interesting uses for Ronan all across the content for many different players. So the next fight I'm going to be talking about. Alright, quickly before we jump to the next fight, I just wanted to show you the path in there, show you that you probably can't use this strategy against the Blade, but you can use it against the Magneto and the Iron Man, and possibly Wasp to an extent. Anyways, so explosive personality, this is Act 6. So in Act 6, wherever you see explosive personality node, it is still perfectly, not just in Act 6 actually, anywhere where you see explosive personality node, if it doesn't have like a limber on or something, it's always really easy to use Ronan. The main thing what we're going to be trying to do here is we're just going to hit our opponent 4 times in the block, make sure he gets those 4 armor ups, and that's it. Only thing we need to do is now to get to our level 1, launch it, and opponent is stun locked. With 4 buffs on opponent, my Ronan has enough time to launch a full combo, do a double medium, and start a full set of new combo. And that gives us a little bit over than a full bar of power. And that means that we're never going to run out of power, and we can do this indefinitely as long as required. Again, it's not the fastest way to kill an opponent, but it's definitely the hardest. It's not the hardest one either, and it's definitely not the longest. But yeah, so once we got him stun locked, there's nothing to it. We're just keeping him on his 4 buffs, and doing our full combo, double mediums, and another full combo, launching our level 1, and that's all she wrote. And he's gonna go down in a second. At the end of this video, I show my Ronan signature level, which I believe is 120. So for many, if you do not have high signature level on your Ronan, it possibly could be better to use like your maxed out 4 stars that you can easily 99. Obviously you can't do that in Act 6, but you can do that everywhere else. So yeah, here we're going on info screen, showing that Ronan is Sig 120, and he gets 0.53 second increase per buff on opponent. I think max signature gives you 0.6 second increase. Anyways, next node, people are sleeping on Ronan when it comes to rage node as well. In case of rage node, the only thing we need to make sure is that we can hit hard enough to trigger the furies. So we're not going to be able to use absolutely tiny Ronan against huge opponents unless we kind of like boost or change our masteries. But remember that Ronan also increases his attack by per buff opponent has. So as soon as Black Widow launched a special attack, she gained 2 buffs. And once that happened, we started triggering those furies, and that's it pretty much. With 5 debuffs on opponent, we have absolutely no problem making sure she's constantly stun locked. And yeah, and that's all she wrote for this fight as well. So Ronan, good for explosive personality and rage nodes. Next one we're going to be looking at is Spiked Armor. Spiked Armor is a node that basically deals damage back to you every time you crit on your opponent. And we can use that to our advantage because they do count as active buffs. And that's all that's needed for Ronan. Obviously, we are going to be taking some damage back from this. However, if you need an answer for some trickier fights that has Spiked Armor on, Ronan is definitely a viable, good option to go, because you can stun lock him quite easily. As you can see here, we get to nearly 2 bars of power, just to give us as big of a power reserve as we possibly can. And as soon as we do that, we just gonna keep chaining our special attacks. There's not much to it. It is a lot easier to pull off against opponents that do have armor effects or some other buffs that activate while we're hitting them. However, Spiked Armor itself gives like a huge boost to that. And aside from that, what I also wanted to mention is that Ronan can greatly benefit from Heimdall synergy, and especially Heimdall with like Loki, Thor, or Thor Ragnarok, just because then you're going to be able to eat a level 3 in case you do run out of power. And once you do, you're able to dash back, heal back up, and start the whole cycle from beginning. So even if opponent doesn't really have many buffs, you're going to be able to keep them stunned for a really long time, eat a special 3, and do the same thing all over again. In majority of the cases, that's going to be enough to kill the opponent, which is pretty much what I'm going to be showing in my next video. And our next video is, I believe that's going to be Act 6.1, yes, the No Retreat quest. So we're going to be going to Joe Fixit. And Joe Fixit has a True Strike node on. That means he's going to have 1 buff, and that's it on him. He's going to be spending entire fight with 1 buff on him, and we're going to see how well Ronan can do when opponent only has the 1 buff on. It is worth mentioning that basically the same idea would apply against increased armor nodes, anything that has True Strike on, or some sort of resistances, or anything else that has 1 active buff. But yeah, anyways, so yeah, we get to nearly 2 bars of power, and we start using our stun lock method. and we're just going to be wailing at him for as long as we have enough power. As you can see, with one buff, my Ronan has enough time to get in 4 or 5 hit combo and start another one. So that's what we're doing. We do a full hit combo and start another one. That does not give us back quite 1 bar of power, but it definitely isn't far off. So here we're going to see that we nearly run out of power. So what's going to happen, we're going to eat a level 3. What I wanted to show in this video was Heimdall synergy, but unfortunately that level 3 isn't going to kill us and we're going to survive it. But the same idea would basically apply, just to mean that we do survive the special 3 from opponent, and that gives us a bunch of extra power yet again. And what that means that as soon as we eat at level 3, we can restart our whole process of stun locking the opponent and carrying on and just finishing the fight off that way. And yeah, in this case it didn't even matter whether Heimdall synergy did or did not trigger. It's just to know that we would have survived even if he would have dealt us more damage. One note here to mention is that you probably want to avoid special attacks that do stun you or like kind of inflict bleeds on you and stuff like that, because that is still gonna kill you obviously after the indestructible cheat death is over. But yeah, and last bit in this video is gonna be kind of themed towards newer players, and it's just like gonna be a reminder that in acts 1, 2, 3 and 4 opponents do not have a special attack. And what that means, there's absolutely no punishment to pushing them to level 3, and that means that you can stun them to your heart's extent for as long and as much as you can, and there's going to be no real consequence. You're just going to need to either land a parry or bait out one special attack, and you can start it all over again without taking any damage from opponents. So for all that content up until Act 5, where opponents have special attack 3 activated from the beginning, you can always simply use Ronan. You're going to have no consequence of doing it. And if you're like a beginner type of player, if you're a newer player, this is definitely a really kind of easy method to get absolutely loads of content done without kind of like needing too much skill or paying too much attention to what's happening. This is kind of like just grab the opponent, stun him, and smack at him by the wall. If the stun does expire, land a parry and keep going. And I do hope that this video reaches some of the newer players in the game as well, and I do consider using this strategy. But anyways, that's gonna be about it for me in today's video. I do hope you guys enjoyed it. Please do feel free to like it, subscribe, share it with your friends, share it with your alliance, share it with your friends whose rosters might not be as advanced or who might not have be as far in the game, because this hopefully can help them out. But yeah, that's me done for today, and I'm gonna catch you guys next time.